Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment or medications if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here. Visit bewelltexas.org.
Hello and welcome to March to the Pod, presented by Eternal Roofing. This is season 2, episode 37, and it is time to immortalize Tim Flanders. I'm your host, producer, and formerly band member of catfans.com, Corey Hogue, the non-FBS insider at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Find me on your favorite social media channel at Corey Hogue Sports. It's all one word, CORYHOGUE Sports. The knowledge of this show is provided by the creator and manager of Sports of SHSU, also one word, on Twitter and Instagram, the chief operating officer of the Cat Fund, and proud Bearcat alum Ben Sorrells. And today we start this with a celebration of Tim Flanders. We're going to get a little running back preview room, kind of piggyback off of that on the football team this year. And then we're going to have a collective discussion. All of us, collectively.
Yeah, collectively, yeah.
We will discuss. But first off, somebody watched our YouTube last week in the middle, not live, and commented, "Why are you wearing headphones?" Well, first off, if you could see by my expensive house, I probably need headphones. And then with Ben, I don't know. I mean, he's in front of the blurry tower in France or something. Who knows where he's at every week, right? You got to have headphones.
I feel like most podcasters have in-ear headphones or above-head earphones to some degree.
You really, no, you need to. You need to really to hear and listen. And honestly, with mine here, it helps me hear myself too, which is important sometimes, although you would probably rather hear less of me than I hear of myself.
But we're still going to hear it anyway.
Oh, that's right. We ain't stopping
whether you
anyhow.
ask for it or not.
That's right, whether you want it or not. And so last week, National Football Foundation put out the list with a candidate list to be inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame, were the ones who could be voted on the ballots, I guess I should say, for that. And on there for the second year in a row was Tim Flanders. Look, I get first ballot, maybe not. But this year, Ben, I decided he's definitely a second ballot Hall of Famer. And I think we found out why. When the more I dug, the more I was like, wow, this dude. I wasn't a Bearcat follower back in 2010 timeframe. I was in the Army deployed overseas.
Tim Flanders wasn't the big news over there?
Yeah, I didn't know who Tim Flanders was when I was in Iraq. I'm just in Afghanistan. I'm sorry. But, man, he was a true legend. And we're going to talk about this. We're going to get into this and more. But first, let's hear a word from our friends over at Eternal Roofing.
Eternal Roofing and General Contracting is your choice for integrity work in the Texas Hill Country. Taylor Andrus and crew provide experienced quality roofing services with a mission of roofing with faith serving with integrity, and sheltering homes in the spirit of stewardship. Don't just take our word for it. Here's what satisfied customer Pamela Allen had to say about Eternal Roofing. They did a great job on our patio roof, came out quick for a quote. The quote was very reasonable, and they started and finished work well and quickly. Not a bad thing to say about Eternal Roofing. Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539, or you can email them taylor@eternalroofingtx.com.
Big thank you to our friends over at Eternal Roofing. And so when I saw Tim Flanders' name, Ben, on the list for the ballot again, I said, wonder if Coach Fritz would be kind enough to talk with me. And so I reached out to Houston, and that man is kind enough to talk to me, and I'm really grateful that he was. There is no bigger proponent of Tim Flanders being elected than Willie Fritz. That's just how it is, man. Like he started with I wrote a letter. He said
he was talking to some notable people too, wasn't he?
He does. Well, the thing is, because he was coach at Tulane before he went to Houston, so he's friends. He knows Archie Manning really well. He uses that to push for Tim Flanders on the ballot as well, and rightfully so. As we saw in the article, if you were able to read it, if you have not, it's at texasfootball.com, and you could probably go in the upper right corner, hit the little search thing, and search Tim Flanders, or you can scroll down past all the 7-on-7 stuff until you find it. But in this, the first thing was when I was looking for the photo too, after I wrote it, I was like, I don't know the flipping photo, but at the same time, like, that's an iconic photo, and it came against the arch rival.
Yeah, I think you either have to use that one, or I think there's one with him and a bunch of other players in it after they beat Montana and all the fans are rushing the field. So one of those two is definitely the choice, but I think the Flanders flip wins out, and people still talk about it till today. And I know our friends over at catfans.com celebrate Flanders Flip Day on an annual basis, and we should.
Flanders Flip Day. Flanders is awesome. And, 0.02% of college football players are enshrined into the Hall of Fame. It is a place meant to celebrate the best of the best. And so they have criteria to even just get on the ballot. You have to have been a first-team All-American. Tim Flanders was an All-American 3 times, first team in 2011. You have how you live after football. That matters too. Well, Tim Flanders is a high school coach at Lake Travis. He's getting ready next month to get married to his longtime partner. By all means, you can't find anyone outside of an old video that the Bearcat Sports Network made years ago that would have anything bad to say about Tim Flanders.
Yeah, and very sarcastically saying bad things about him. Spent a little bit of time in the NFL and 4 years in the CFL as well.
He did. He had a professional career. It's funny because when you sent me that video about an hour before the show, and I was watching that old one. If you could find it, go find it out there. Still on the Bearcat Sports Network on YouTube, and to watch the beginning really cracked me up when Willie Fritz sat down. And they were like, would you like to talk about Tim Flanders? And he said, do I have to?
And then at the end, he's like, coaching Tim Flanders is where I make my money. Like, I get my money's worth with him.
He did get his money's worth with Tim Flanders. I mean, on-field exploits, look, we all know, right? We're Bearcats fans. We all know what he did. Guy was Southland Conference Player of the Year twice, 2-time finalist for the Walter Payton Award. Probably should have won the Walter Payton Award. He's the only player to lead the Southland Conference in rushing 4 consecutive seasons. And this is a conference that has got some storied history to it there. By every measure, every single one of them, Tim Flanders should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and if you're talking about a guy at the FBS level that went to 2 national championships and was a Heisman Trophy finalist 2 years in a row, I mean, I think everybody would immediately say yes. It's just the fact that he was at the FCS level and isn't as household of a name, but he's got just as good of accolades as anybody out there that's in consideration, and so I think he definitely deserves to be in there.
He does. And I know I have built up some goodwill with Cat Fan Nation. But guys, I got a problem. Why has Sam Houston always got a Sam Houston things? You have a generational, legendary player who should be immortalized in Atlanta at the Chick-fil-A Hall of Fame, College Football Hall of Fame, and he's not even in your Hall of Honor? Like, this dude is on the ballot for the College Football Hall of Fame, in which you had to wait 10 years after you finished playing to be eligible for, which last year was his 10-year mark, so he was on it. Man, it's been 11 years, and this man ain't even in your Hall of Honor? Come on now. This has got to get fixed.
Yeah, well, and I did some digging last week. I was around some people close to the university and the program, and I asked, is there a number of years that have to go by to get on there? And they said, yeah, but it's 5.
Check.
Check that one off. And this person, a little older, I mean, they keep up with things, but obviously not as in tune with every single thing. And they thought he was in there. And the fact that, and when they heard he wasn't, they said, I am talking to this person in the athletic department who oversees the Hall of Honor, and I will see what I can get done this year. So hopefully he's in there this year. I know there's been a conscious effort the last 5 to 7 years to try to have all the sports included, and I think football has even been left off. Maybe 1 or 2 years they're trying to maybe put tennis in there and a track and field in there, but at some point you got to put in Tim Flanders, who arguably could be the best athlete in your school's history.
Yeah, it's excuses, right? Like, well, we were trying to. No, you're not talking about a normal football player. You are talking about a generational talent that came through your program and changed the course of your football program. Tim Flanders is the foundation of which today's Bearcat football has been built on.
I mean, are we even an FBS team without Tim Flanders?
No.
It's up for debate.
No. I mean, there's debate whether you should be FBS now, but we are not getting into that today. I'm just saying that's why I wanted to call this out, because I think there's a few things. Number one, I imagine there's a lot of people who, if they hear Tim Flanders is not in the Hall of Fame, would go, what? Or the Hall of Honor. They go, wow, how not?
Yeah.
How's he not? Because they probably thought he was already there. Right? I get that. But also, it's time to put pressure. I don't know where the pressure goes. I don't know if it goes to Dr. White. I don't know if it goes to Bobby Williams. I don't care. It needs to be put out there, and it's time to start pressuring them and make a right out of this. Before the man is voted in and inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame, he should be in your Hall of Honor.
Well, and with the new stadium coming up, I know some people have talked about statues, and I think the statue conversation came up with Eric Schmid, but I think if there's a guy that you have to put up there, it's Flanders. I mean, could you imagine a Flanders flip statue as you enter the new Bauer Stadium?
This photo, let me put this back up on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, first off, thank you for tuning in. If you're listening, we will describe, it's the picture. It's an iconic photo. It really is. This is Tim Flanders. He's upside down, flipping over an SFA player as he goes into the end zone. And what really makes it great is to see all the fans and the cheerleaders' reaction. Like, so many mouths are just wide open right there, except for the guy holding the football, the guy in the X. I guess that he's like, because this was at Reliant or whatever, the Texas, NRG. And this guy looks like he ain't impressed. I mean, I don't know. I haven't been to a lot of games where they're flipping over people.
No. And when they do, and I think it was the number 1 play on SportsCenter as well.
I'm sure it was. But if you imagine a statue where you have Tim Flanders upside down on this with the SFA defender, dude, what better statue could you have outside your home football stadium?
Oh, I know. It would be. I think you need to have that on one side and one of Eric Schmid tossing the game-winning touchdown in the national championship on the other side. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I'm all for Schmid. He deserves his flowers eventually. But man, we got to take care of Flanders first. Flanders, if you look at program generational, Flanders to me is more important to Bearcats football history than Eric Schmid. Schmid was great, and he will never get surpassed as to what he did. That team, 21 wins in 21, unbelievable story. Nobody is Tim Flanders.
Well, there might not be no Eric Schmid story without Tim Flanders.
There may not be. There may not be a Casey Keeler without Tim Flanders.
Yeah, who knows what the standard of the program would have been without them elevating it over that 3 to 4 year period with Willie and Tim.
And it's funny that Willie said at the end of the one video, the kind of joke video that we saw, that that Tim Flanders, he makes his money off of him. No, literally, he went to Tulane. Now, he didn't make his money off Flanders at Tulane because he built Tulane into where he got. Willie, Coach Fritz is a great coach, fantastic coach. He's earned every bit of it. And also, he recruited this guy. Tim Flanders was at Kansas State, and he redshirted. And, Coach Fritz, he's from Midwest City, Norman, Oklahoma area. He got him down there and changed him. And now I think we can go ahead and say that Tim Flanders is officially a Texan.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was still an Oklahoma guy, I don't know that we'd try to get him in the Hall of Honor.
Well, I was going to say, it's interesting you brought that up. The last 2 Oklahoma running backs that have played at Sam Houston have been pretty good, Tim Flanders and DJ McKinney this last year.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, he's not Tim Flanders, but I mean, we might be on to something.
Stay out of Oklahoma.
Maybe.
It's rough up there. I had to go up there last week
yeah.
get the windshield replaced. Rough.
I drove through Oklahoma last week. Not a whole lot there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, me too.
No, because you're going to pay an arm and a leg to drive through Oklahoma on the turnpike.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is time. Like, it's just crazy to me that when I started researching this, the first place I went to look was the Bearcats website, Hall of Honor bio, try to find some things about Flanders, and it wasn't. And that really was a shock and a surprise to me. And it is well past time that we get that corrected.
Yes. And Hall of Honor's typically homecoming week-ish, somewhere around there in the middle of the football season. So
do we have to talk about that now?
What, homecoming?
Yeah, Jesus.
What, it being a Thursday night?
It's a basketball game, man. It's not even a football game.
I mean, it's hard to find a good night unless you're going to put it in November. And
yeah,
it's going to be
look, you don't have any other choice, right?
Yeah.
Like, I get it. They're not at home this year. You're not going to have your homecoming game in Houston at whatever they call that place now. It used to be BBVA and now Shell Energy Stadium. My brain is like spin on about 10 years ago right now. If you notice, I'm recalling the old names and not the new updated names. So I need to reboot my memory system.
Yeah, you should know it. You cover a team that plays there.
That's how I know it was BBVA for so long, and that's why it just kind of rolls off, Compass Stadium. It just now it's Shell Energy, and I've been there. I've been inside it when it was Shell Energy, and it's a nice place, but it's not a homecoming place.
Oh, no.
And so maybe they'll announce it at homecoming, but there needs to be a big celebration of Tim Flanders next football season.
And if he is on there, I mean, we got to give you credit, right?
No. I hate that crap to do.
Well, who knows if it does happen? I don't know if it would have without you.
I am a lowly podcast host who writes for about 35 teams of non-FBS. They don't even have money, right? I don't even get teams that have money anymore. So, listen, and we will get into some of that later in our collective discussion because nobody really knows what the hell is happening in college football still.
No. House settlement passed.
Do what?
The House settlement finally passed.
And we're going to, but that didn't fix anything. There's no more
No.
clarity with that right now. And that is something we're going to talk about in the third leg. But before we get to the second part, where we're going to give a preview of the Cats running back room, want to let you know we are a podcast on the Republic of Football Network and an extension of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and the Conference USA Podcast Roundtable, which features podcasts from all 12 CUSA schools. Please like and subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on the various social media platforms at March to the Pod. It's all one word, March the number 2, the Pod. We'll be back to talk about the running back room right after we hear this word from Eternal Roofing.
Eternal Roofing only uses the finest materials in the roofing business while providing an exceptional warranty. Why do they use CertainTeed products? Because they complement any appearance, provide exceptional and reliable strength, and are known for their enduring performance. Here's what Shane Sosa had to say about Eternal Roofing. Taylor and his team are amongst the highest level of professionals. They care about their customers and go above and beyond just doing the job. Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539 or email Taylor at eternalroofingtx.com.
So last week, 2 weeks ago when we were last on, which I believe we might as well go ahead and update the people since we're here. We might as well have a little production meeting on air, and I believe we're going to record next week. Am I right?
Yeah, as far as I know, we were up until the last week of this month.
Yes, so we're going to do there, and then we will be off the 25th and the 2nd. June 25th and July 2nd, we will be out. Possibly back on the 9th, right before. That's when the new season will start. Our new season starts in July. So we will have 2 more shows left in this season. This one and next week. That's the end of second season, Ben. Can you believe that already?
It's crazy. And maybe we could knock out wide receivers and tight ends one week and O-line the next week and have offense done.
Well, and then we got the 16th, and that leads us into the 23rd is we may not have one that day. I believe that's when their media day is. All the media days are right around that last week of July timeframe.
They just announced it about 2 weeks ago. I can't remember the exact date, but I'll look it up.
I know. If I remember correctly, it's right on because coaching that week.
July 22nd.
Coaching school. Yep. Like it was last year. So when we come in on, I went back to June on that. When we come back in on the 23rd, by the 23rd, we could have a real rousing conversation on the oh boy, I just lost my train of thought on what happened at media day.
Yeah, and we'll be 2 weeks out from the start of volleyball and soccer too, pretty much.
Exactly. That means we'll have some previews to do. All right. So, since we honored Tim Flanders today and a couple weeks ago, we started our look at the rooms heading into the Cats football season in 2025. Ben gave us a quarterback. So today, in honor of Tim Flanders, we're doing running back room preview. Ben, lots of changes, lots of new faces in the running back room for the Bearcats.
Yeah, and I mean, similar to a lot of position groups on this team, there is a lot of turnover, but this is probably the room where there's a lot of turnover and you actually feel pretty good about what you brought in. You've got 2 guys coming back from last year's team, didn't really play last year, but they played in 2023. Those guys are Coco Brown and Adrian Murdaugh. And then you brought in 5 newcomers, so a lot of new faces, and I would expect the 5 newcomers to be the ones you see out there for the most part, and I'm sure we'll get into it. But yeah, unlike maybe the defense where it was a lot of transition, a lot of turnover, and you don't feel great, this one is where there's a lot of turnover and transition, but I think you can feel pretty good about what you brought in.
Zach Krbacek is now at Weber State. So he is going for an FCS title this year because they are always in the fight for a title over there.
Yeah.
DJ
McKinney's at New Mexico, and John Gentry's at UT Martin.
Yes. Who went to New Mexico?
DJ McKinney, and then Jay Ducker's at Temple as well. So those were the guys that got carries last year.
Oh, hold on. DJ McKinney is where?
With your good friend Jason Eck.
We'll see how that turns out for him this year. Just saying. I like that matchup.
He'll be good there.
Yes, he will. So, Bill Longo's an air raid guy. We know that. We know that running the ball is still important in football. But what is kind of expected out of a running back in Phil Longo's air raid offense?
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of kind of two different things. We've seen guys be bell cows and take 80% of the snaps. We kind of saw that in 2014 when Longo was here, and they ran it for a little more than they threw it for. You've also seen kind of the two-back system, most notably at North Carolina, where they had I'm blanking on the first name, but his last name was Hampton. I think it was Amarian Hampton and Michael Carter. Both had 1,000-yard rushing seasons, and you typically see them be used sparingly out of the backfield. These aren't guys that are they're not going to rack up 30 to 40 catches, but a piece. But I think you'll see 2 or 3 guys with 10 to 15 catches apiece. So they'll be used in the passing game a little bit. I think with this backfield, and I'll get into it more, I think Elijah Green is your number one guy, but you've got a lot of depth and a lot of quality depth behind that to where you could probably see 2 to 3 guys in the rotation, especially if the team kind of continues down the path of Hunter Watson starting and them going a little more run heavy. So I would probably see Elijah Green as the lead back, but I don't think he's going to take 80% of snaps, especially with the talent you have behind him. And then I would expect them to be a little involved in the pass game, not a ton, but if Elijah Green's your starter, maybe 15 to 20 catches out of him this year, so maybe 1 to 2 catches a game kind of thing. So those are kind of some of my early expectations for the running back room.
It's going to be important that they can pass block, pick up the blitz.
Yeah.
That's going to be very important. All right, run it down. Who are the guys in the running back room, and kind of what should we expect out of them this year?
Yeah, so the first one, I hit on the 2 guys that have returned. Like I said, I don't expect them to factor too much into this rotation, so we're just hitting newcomers. The first one, Elijah Green. The moment Longo got hired, I got wind that Elijah Green was coming here. And this is a guy that is very talented, has great size at 6'2", 210, moves very well, is familiar with Longo's system, was in it for 3 years at North Carolina. And in 2022, he was Longo's feature back, had 558 yards rushing, 8 rushing touchdowns, 17 receptions, and 107 yards receiving, along with the receiving touchdown. Didn't get used nearly as much at North Carolina when Longo left. Went to Indiana last year, played a decent amount. I like the yards per carry that he had, 6.9 per carry on only 29 carries. He did have 5 touchdowns. But a guy that's proven he can do it at the highest level of college football, I think he's probably your lead guy. The most notable name in the group is probably Alton McCaskill, who was Big 12 Freshman of the Year. I think it was 4 years ago now. Had a knee injury, went to Colorado, went to Arizona State. Really hasn't played at all. I think he's got maybe 20 or 30 carries over the last 3 seasons. So we'll see how he looks in this running back group. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of competition for that kind of number 2 spot, but he's definitely going to be in the mix. Another name that I really like is Shane Porter, who came over from North Texas. I heard from the North Texas people he was a walk-on there, which makes no sense considering he had 97 carries, 648 yards, and 5 touchdowns last year. And he was looking for a scholarship opportunity. So I heard that on a UNT podcast, which is just odd, but it makes sense why he would transfer. He had 2 really big games last year. He had a game against UTSA where he had 130 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he's shown he can play at this level. I think him and McCaskill are probably the 2 guys that I'm really excited about at the number 2 spot. And then the other newcomer I'll mention as well is Jarian Parker. Had a nice freshman season, at SIU, which is a top 20, 25 FCS team. Had 350 yards as a true freshman. He'll be a sophomore, so I think he's probably your number 3 or 4 this year, but you've got him for at least 2 or 3 more years. Is a great piece to build off of in the future. So I think there's some good pieces in this running back room. Elijah Green, I think, is your starter. Porter and McGaskill, I would look at as probably your 2 and 3, but I like Jerry and Parker as well. So 4 running backs that I feel pretty good about going into this season.
How set is the roster now?
Yeah, I actually posted about this on Cat Fund the other day. Had a conversation probably 10 days ago, maybe 2 weeks ago with someone. They said that there was 1 scholarship spot available, and the roster updated online about a week ago, maybe less than a week ago, and there's 103 players on it. So it's pretty set, and I heard the 1 player, if they do add with that scholarship, it would be a DB, possibly a defensive lineman. So the offensive side of the ball is pretty much set, and with the 105 roster limit, unless guys are grandfathered in, it seems to be pretty set. And Sam Houston made its cuts. I don't think any of the cuts they made to get to that 105 they're going to grandfather in or bring back. So offensive side of the ball looks to be 100% set, unless out of nowhere they decide to use that last scholarship for an offensive player.
How many scholarships are they funding? Because now with the change, and I know this is kind of digging into some of the third leg, and you know, they all kind of do run together anymore. How much of it is funded? Like, they can fund 105.
Yeah, well, in the conversation I had, they told me that 55 of their 85 scholarship players this year are going to be new. So it sounds like they're at that 85 scholarship level, which is where they were last year. First year in the FBS, they were slightly below it. Last year, they got up to 85, and it sounds like this year it's going to be 85, but they'll carry close to the 105 or right at the 105 roster limit.
Okay, so future. Are there plans? Is Sam Houston, are they opting in?
They have opted in.
They're opting into the house settlement. So, yeah. Listen, let's just be honest here as where the direction that things are going right now. If you're in the group of 5 and you're not funding 105 scholarships within the next couple of years, you're about to get left behind.
I agree. Yeah, and I don't know if there even is a plan beyond this year, from what I've heard at least, for what the scholarship number in football looks like.
I think that's everybody, though. Everyone was waiting on the house set.
Right. And so 85 this year, I mean, revenue continues to go up. I think it got up to 27, 28 million at Sam Houston last year, which is a step forward, not nearly where it needs to be. But, 85 this year, and hopefully you can incrementally increase up to that 105 over the next 2 to 3 years. But we'll see. I mean, there are a lot of expenses, especially this year, where you're having to pay to play at Shell Energy Stadium and travel to Hawaii.
Yeah, and we got a lot more to talk about when it comes to collectives. We have a collective discussion, and also part of the collective discussion includes hearing more about Cat Fund. All of that after we hear about how you need to get on the list right now for Christmas lights at Eternal Roofing, because it is June 11th, Ben. If you're not thinking Christmas lights, you're behind the game.
You're getting left behind. I know, we're halfway to Christmas, which is nuts.
It is.
And I think they were like 90% full by the end of September last year. So you've really got 2 months to get on the list, really.
Hey, at the end of this little ad promo here, there's a number. Write it down. Give them a call. Get on that list.
Eternal Roofing is locally owned and dedicated to giving back to the community by supporting local organizations and charities. They are also the winner of Next Door's Neighborhood Faves for 2 consecutive years. And as you know, if you've listened to this podcast, Eternal Roofing is your choice for Christmas lights. They provide premium lights tailored to fit your home, season-long maintenance, and hassle-free removal. Kyle Tatum said, "They're very professional and great quality, on time and clean, and really made me feel like they cared for me and my home. Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539, or you can email Taylor at eternalroofingtx.com. Big thank you to our friends over at Eternal Roofing. Truly proud to be associated with them as our presenting sponsor for the last 2 years of this podcast, and hopefully going into a third. I mean, goodness, the second season is almost over. Didn't even really think about it. So we gotta talk with Taylor. I know Taylor is. I think Taylor's pretty. Hey, look, I don't know how much he listens to Corey, but I know he likes Ben. That much.
That seems to be the sentiment from a lot of people for some reason.
Yeah, I'm not everyone's cup of. I'm not a lot of people's cup of tea. It happens.
It is what it is.
But before we get into a collective discussion here, Ben, tell us what you got going on over at Cat Fund and how people could get involved.
Yeah, you can sign up and support Sam Houston student athletes at cat-fund.com and get access to exclusive content and all the Cat Fund merch at the different levels. We do have our auction and golf tournament for basketball in early October. Just under 4 months away from that. Website and ticket info should be up here soon. So always have discounted access and stuff like that for our members. So want to do that. And yeah, it's been a good summer. A lot of good basketball and baseball stuff going on for us. So definitely want to sign up, become a member, get access to the exclusive content. Had a lengthy kind of update as we go into the early summer on things going on around campus the other day. Like I said, I was out of town for almost 2 weeks, so it was a little quiet on there for 2 weeks, but we're back and should have some good content in there rolling throughout the summer.
That's awesome. Little as $10 a month, you can support Bearcat athletes and Bearcat athletics at cat-fund.com. But you're not the only collective anymore, Ben. And there was a statement put out yesterday by Cat Fund. And I think it raised some questions and some that, that people deserve answers. There are some big questions here. We're going to get into this. We are not, none of this is digging into the weeds. None of this is like behind the scenes. And none of this is a shot at anyone. This is the reality of the situation that is happening right now. And so, if you're a member of Cat Fund, you received this yesterday. I'm not reading the entire thing to you, but I think it's important to point out that first off, since Phil Longo was named head coach, he had full support of Cat Fund. He had a full support of the Cat Fund collective, and there have been numerous discussions to try and work together. It didn't quite work. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. I'm not going into one side or another side. There's a lot to collectives, and by no means is Sam Houston the only school with separate collectives. But now there is a Bearcat football collective to help, I guess, basically just football.
Yeah.
Cat Fund is not changing. Cat Fund is not changing at all. In fact, Cat Fund, in from everything that I understand, they were very bold letters. Cat Fund is not changing course. And if you are wanting, they are still working with football players as they can. The process is a little bit more difficult now, let's say, for players to get. It is different. It's a little more challenging for players to come over and get part of the Cat Fund. Everything kind of has to go through another round of, I guess, approval, if you will, for that. Like there's another layer of approval there. Again, Texas Tech announced last week that the two collectives they have are coming into one. In the future, could we see the Bearcat Football Collective become a part of Cat Fund? I think so. For right now, it's not going to happen. And giving to Cat Fund is not
taking away from football, giving to football, if that's what you were going to give for anyway, is not taken away from the cat fund. You see, my understanding, completely outside looking in, cat fund works with every program throughout.
Yeah, and we haven't worked with every program, but that is our goal, eventual goal, and we've worked with many different programs on campus over the past 2 years.
You're getting there. Like, you're still young.
Right. 2 years. We started paying athletes 2 years ago.
It's a very, very young collective. There's a lot of questions with this right now. We had the House settlement that got approved. What does that mean for collectives? One thing I know is that Nigeria Kennedy had to get her $1.2 million from Tech before July. Like payments over a certain amount, I think 600, if I saw correctly, have to be paid out before July 1st now.
Well, and there's still questions about can international athletes receive revenue sharing money, and if the answer is no, collectives can still pay them either in kind of creative ways or while they're in their home countries, ways that don't impact their visas. So, and then there's also payments outside of the revenue sharing. Obviously, some schools are right at the 20 million max, but want to go above and beyond that. So there's still a need for collectives in certain areas and spaces and for specific sports.
And there's still no real rules, regulations, or anything with that. Not even with, look, this House proposal did not clarify anything. It just added more questions to the mix.
And more lawsuits.
And that's where a lot of this problem comes in, I think, Ben, because people instinctively want to make sure they take care of themselves first, right? That's an instinctive nature of people. And so we're all, whether you want to admit it or not, a lot of times we're all a little bit unsure about what other people are doing. And so when you bring someone new into an organization, they don't necessarily have that trust already with that. And I get all that, right? So, I mean, that's where a lot of this comes up. There's a lot of talk about that and with that stuff. I think the most important thing is, first off, Cat Fund over the last 2 years has worked with so many programs and had a great relationship with Keeler and has a great relationship with Longo. It's just not in a collective manner.
Right. Yeah, and I think I'd have to go back and look at the exact number, but I did an article with the Houstonian, which just recently rebooted, and shout out to Josh Kurzweil, who's done a good job to get that restarted. As of, I think it was March, we had worked with 119 athletes on campus, and obviously that number has gone up over the past 3 months. So, yeah, we've worked with a lot of different players across campus over the past 2 years.
Yes. And so moving forward, what does this mean? Okay, let's not go there. Let me say this. Another thing that goes with collectives that we don't really talk about enough is sometimes the public finds out. Nigeria Kennedy. We all know she's getting $1.2 million. We all know she's a $1 million arm. If you listen to any of the Women's College World Series with their games, Beth Mowens made sure you heard that 3 times every inning.
Yeah. Now she's the $1.2 million arm.
She's the $1.2 million arm. And there are, and this hasn't been a problem with Sam Houston, right? We have not had an issue yet where anyone's like, well, that player, how much is he getting for this and how much? There hasn't been a lot of that, but those concerns, again, because we are humans, those concerns are kind of there and they're kind of natural.
Right. Well, and another concern a lot of places is people not getting their money, and we have fulfilled every contract that we have given to a player.
We've seen that too at Indiana, right? The guy at Indiana, is that where it was?
It was one of the big basketballs. I want to say South Carolina. It was South Carolina, I think, with their old coach or something like that.
Oh, no. The one that they were winning last year, UNLV.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
with the quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, they were promised money and that. So coaches of a program, they take ownership of that program, every little part inside that program. And if something comes down under NCAA violation, quite often the coach's neck is on the line with a show cause as well. So they are a little bit, and I think when we understand that, rightfully so, a little hesitant at times, kind of get involved with something that they feel may not only be focused on the benefiting their program.
Right. Totally.
It's human nature, guys. This is how it goes. It does not mean anything long term. It does not mean anything about the Cat Fund. And really, there's no hard feelings between the Cat Fund and Bearcat Football Collective. You know,
No,
because we all want the same thing, right? We all want Sam Houston to win.
We know the person there very well, trust me.
Yeah. I mean, everybody knows everybody at Sam Houston with this stuff, right? Like it's not a large community. It just isn't. It's not the University of Texas where you've got 40,000 undergrad students.
Yeah. Well, it's just a part of the culture. Everybody knows everyone.
Well, it's a small town.
Yeah.
Kind of a small college, in a smaller town.
Right.
That's how it is, man. I live in Wichita Falls. You know everybody in Wichita Falls, right? Like, geez, man.
And Iowa Park, unfortunately.
I don't know everybody in Iowa Park. I try to stay out of that place, man. I go there like twice a year for a baseball game, and then like cops are threatened to be called, all because I'm just asking questions about why the umpire's shaking hands with the other team after the game that they won.
Sounds about right. We've gone too long without an Iowa Park story. That's why I had to include them.
I could give you Iowa Park stuff.
Yeah, so we're not changing. We're supporting as many athletes in sports as possible. Have our auction and golf tournament for basketball. The plan is to have another auction for baseball. We're in talks with another sport on campus for possibly doing an auction for them. So that would be a really good step for one of the smaller sports on campus that could really help them. So yeah, we're doing as much as we can.
Could there be a golf tournament for the golf program? Whoa.
Yeah, we might be. You might
maybe
be
an auction play around a golf with someone.
You might be onto something, Corey.
Well, how about that?
Yeah.
See, and that's the thing. Like, there is a lot unknown, and there's listen, guys. When you start talking about collectives, my eyes will glaze over immediately. I cannot tell you a whole lot about the house settlement because it starts getting into the legalese, and I just don't care.
Right.
I don't want to hear it. I get tired of that stuff. And it's the same way with these collectives, right? I mean, the questions when you first started, we were talking, how are you going to become how is it with taxes, right?
Oh, yeah. We've had to learn quickly between, paying taxes, athlete taxes. I mean, there's just so many. And then you've got to keep up with.
And if they're a contractor, you got to get a 1099.
Oh, yeah. Thankfully we've got that taken care of. I mean, there's just, you got to keep up with legislation, which contracts are going to have to go to NIL Go. Thankfully, all of ours are signed at this point, so none due to this point, but it's something we're going to have to do because we want to stay within compliance within university, NCAA, and the law. So,
God, dude, I don't know how you guys do it right now.
There's a lot going on.
I don't know how you do it because not only do you got to worry about the federal with the house settlement, dude, the state of Texas and all these other states are over here passing all these crazy laws all the time too for this. Well, and how are you supposed to know if you're violating any of them?
Well, and Texas just passed House Bill 126, which pretty much allows for revenue sharing, but it also allows for high school athletes that are 17 or older to sign deals with businesses and collectives. So hypothetically, you could start recruiting a high school junior or senior to your school and start paying them while they're in high school. So there's just a lot of moving parts.
That's going to go over pretty well.
Oh, yeah. Athletes just going to take their money going into senior year, decommit, find another person that wants to give them money when they get on campus.
You know what would solve all this?
A CBA.
Contracts.
Well, I mean, we've got them, but not the way they should.
I'm talking CBA-ish. I don't know,
Right.
unionizing-ish. I don't think
Right.
you want to go full like union status with college athletes, but let's be honest. We need contracts, kind of like a coach's contract, right? If you're going to bring that player in, they're going to sign with you, your collective. You're going to have a set number of years, whether it be 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 5 if you're paying them for a redshirt year.
Right.
Like,
And
then if they're going to
buyouts
break
and-
out of that, there needs to be a buyout. There are things that need to happen. I wrote about them a couple weeks ago on TexasFootball.com about how to fix all of this tampering and crud that is happening in our college football right now. And also, the only Texas House bill I really followed was HB3.
Which one was that?
THC.
I was going to say, I don't think that one's sports related. I had a feeling it was going to
It
go
is
somewhere down
not
the path.
sports related, but it is related to me keeping sanity.
Which we need for this podcast.
We need for me to have a house. I mean, we need.
Yeah, you got a big house behind you to pay for.
I have a big house.
Some fancy headphones, apparently.
I gotta stay inside that compassionate use program.
Oh, gosh. Got a lot of bills.
Yeah, and anything they can do. Full disclosure: I am in the compassionate use program as a veteran, as one with PTSD. And it has been life-changing for me. I was so glad when Texas finally made this legal and allowed for me, and they've made the other changes. Let me tell you, I know this is completely odd, but it goes along with a collective as well, because when you start talking about all the other little things in it, man, yeah, there was a compassionate use program. You either brought exact change or you had to pay through some app they had that, because they weren't allowed to, the state didn't allow them to carry change or to actually use a bank, right? And those rules have slowly been changing. So that is why I'm watching HB3 to see, you're making it easier for us to get it, because that's really what you should do. Because people like me, we kind of appreciate that.
Well, kind of along those lines in sports, I know someone that filed a FOIA recently, and they were told they can't pay online and they have to pay $1.50 for the FOIA search through check that has to be mailed. Isn't that interesting?
That wasn't Sam Houston, was it?
No.
God, no. I mean, they got to be better at FOIA requests than that.
No, I haven't. I mean, I know the process to send one in. I haven't, but yeah, no, this is a different institution that is not in Texas.
Oof. Man, a lot of
$1.50 check. You got to spend more for shipping than the check itself, probably.
Your stamp is going to cost the same.
Yeah, it's funny.
Instead of $1.50 minus postage.
Yeah.
I think people see that the statement, and this is why we wanted to talk about it. To wrap this up, people saw that statement yesterday, and I think it naturally brings questions as to, okay, what's happening, what is going on, right there, and so it's time to quell that, right? Like this is not a major issue. Bearcats are still supporting Bearcats. Everybody's still supporting everyone. There is just now going to be a kind of separate collective for the football program, and it will operate separately-ish from Cat Fund, to be honest. I say ish because, again, everything is so connected inside.
Yeah. 2 different LLCs, 2 different EINs, all that TINs, all that kind of stuff. 2 separate entities. Man. You know the people, but yeah, two different operations.
Different E's and T's you got to cross, right?
Yeah. Tax and
I can't remember. I see EIN is for the business. I think I see that.
Yeah,
on the too. Like I don't.
Some companies have a TIN too for tax identification stuff.
Yeah, well, hey, some people, right? If you don't have a social security number, you pay taxes, right? You have a taxpayer ID number,
right?
And that's totally different.
Yeah, you had to deal with that with international athletes too. It's another thing we've looked at or
Yeah.
dealt with. There's a lot of ins and outs with collectives that sometimes you just don't know about till it comes up and you're like, oh, we got to figure this out.
I know this probably isn't anything that we want to touch on too much right now, but let me ask this question. Have you heard of anyone at Sam Houston being leery of bringing in international students until some of this stuff happening with Department of Education and the process and all that stuff that seems to be kind of up in the air, until all that gets kind of settled and figured out? Are they because I do know there are colleges in Division II who lost tennis players and tennis coaches right in the middle of the season with immigration coming in, right? And they, whether you hear, you got to fight all that. But I'm wondering if you've heard anyone from Sam Houston maybe a little leery on that. I would be if I was coaching, not going to lie.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything personally, especially with some of the international athletes that we've dealt this summer. I at least haven't heard it. But there are some interesting visa things that I've heard out there. They haven't really applied to Sam Houston players. So, I mean, I'm sure it's probably a topic that's going to come up at some point to some degree that we'll get wind of. I mean, golf, tennis, track and field, we've dealt with it with basketball. Hasn't been an issue with basketball or the other sports, but to my knowledge. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it comes up at some point.
Let's hope it does not become an issue.
Yep.
And all of this stuff gets settled relatively easily. Who knows, man? Right now, there's just so much in flux in our world, right? And I think all of us feel it, whether you're in school, out of school. There's so much in flux, so much kind of chaos around us right now. We all kind of got to step back and take a big, deep breath.
Yeah, just go on a summer vacation and chill out, people.
Chill the blank out. And be nice to people. I will say it all the time. Treat people with respect. Treat people how you want to be treated. It works. And then do the right thing. You know in your gut the right choices. Follow those.
Yep.
Everything will work out well for you.
Even if they go to a purple school or a golden maroon kind of school.
I mean, it depends on. Then there's a lot of purple schools.
Well, and speaking of purple schools, I'm sure everybody saw we are playing SFA in an exhibition game in October, which we had the info on in Cat Fund about a month before it went public.
Yeah, that made everyone happy, didn't it?
Oh yeah, that solved it all.
Yeah. I mean, yes, a home and home is ideal, and a home and home really should happen. I don't know why it doesn't.
In volleyball, they found a way to do it the past few years. Or softball has, baseball's got to figure it out, and both of the basketball teams do. There's no excuse in baseball, even if it's just 2 midweeks. Do that. I mean, basketball, home and home. I mean, there's got to be ways to get this done. Football, I understand. Other sports, we got to get it together.
There are ways. And sometimes when that obstacle gets in the way, you have to use it to help get through it sometimes. Sometimes the obstacle is the way.
Yeah.
And,
well,
you've got to figure it out.
Well, I think it's a moneymaker for both schools. I mean,
yeah,
you're going to bring more people in for that game than probably any other game when it comes to baseball and basketball.
So you say that. And here's my problem with having it at the neutral site. It holds 5,000 people.
Well, I think you have to have your exhibition game at a neutral site unless it's a closed door event, to my knowledge, for basketball.
Okay. Man, I can get 5,000 people to a good D2 game.
Yeah. I mean, I just, what were you thinking? I mean, like Toyota Center or something?
No. I was thinking somewhere along the lines of about 10,000.
Yeah,
if there was a place with about 10,000, I think that would be more than enough. I mean, I would think it. I don't know. But to me, I would plan for attendance to be 7,000 to 8,000. I would think.
I mean, I think you might be a little too generous. It was 2019, the year that we won the Southland and went 16-2, I think. And we played SFA at home in the middle of like an 8-game win streak, and we had 3,500 people there at home on a Friday or Saturday night. It was a Saturday night at home. One of the better seasons we've had in recent memory, and it was 3,500.
That's sad.
Yeah,
That's
and
sad.
And
there's 3,500 when I go to MSU on a Saturday.
Yeah, and in a preseason exhibition basketball game in the middle of football season, I mean, I'm thinking probably 1,500, 2,000 are going to be there.
Jeez, man. And if there's only 1,500, 2,000, why are they going to want to do a series?
Yeah,
that's the point. That's the problem. I mean,
you would draw 3,500 ish just because you haven't seen it in a while, but that's probably about where it would be.
If you're not, I mean, seriously, it should be close to sellouts. If it's at Sam Houston and it's at NAC, it should be close to sellouts at both locations. My opinion.
100%.
It's just it's a rivalry. That's what you do.
But at least they did something. I mean, it's
a step
going on 3 seasons, since we played.
It's a step. You remember Texas A&M for a long time didn't play, and then it started with like baseball doing a midweek series, and it kind of going, now they're all in the same conference again. There's hope. There's hope.
Yeah.
Not that you're all going to be in the same conference. There's hope that maybe all of this is just the next step into getting a more regular rotation with SFA.
Right. Because, I mean, to this point, we haven't seen a natural rival kind of step up in Conference USA. I mean,
yes. No.
I don't know if there is going to be one. I mean, Texas State is ideal, but you're not going to play them a lot in really anything, so they can't be a true annual rival either.
Unless you go to the Sun Belt.
You're
not financially capable of that right now.
Yeah, I mean, that one might be a little more possible than SFA moving up at this point, but like you said, I don't know if it'll happen.
Yep. Dude, we had a lot to talk about today.
Miscellaneous.
Lot. A collective discussion.
Yeah.
Yes. Collectively.
We didn't have a Corey's top 5.
Oh, we don't need a Corey's top 5 today. Although I have a new top 5 for pizza places, Italian food places here in this Wichita Falls area.
Oh boy.
Genova's Pizza. It is Italian. They're true Italians. They're from Italy. If you go on their website, they're in Italy jerseys. They're not playing. They're Italian. But no, listen, man. Like, large pizza is the size. It is huge, and it's like $13 for a large pizza.
Oh yeah,
just unbelievable. Calzone. I had a calzone, a house salad today. It was $11. And the calzone, I ate half of it and brought half home. And I'm not a small guy. So that is in the food. It's not just the amount. It is good.
Yeah.
It is really good. And so I'm trying to convince my son that it's always better than rapid fired. He likes rapid fired. It's not bad. I'm just saying. I like Genova's. It's a local place.
It's the best place.
Local places are the best places.
They typically are.
And you know where the best barbecue place is?
Where?
Owl Park.
Oh, gosh.
I know, right? Ain't that some bull?
It is.
I don't go over there very often to get barbecue.
Stick to the pizza.
That's right. Hey, we're going to be back next week at 4 o'clock. Again, we are going to preview the O-line and tight end group next week. And then that will leave us 2 shows before media day to get the defense in. So we'll probably go like
an all defense
front
show.
7 DL linebacker and then a back end with the DBs and safeties. That's probably how we'll do that.
There's a lot to talk about with defense too.
A whole new defense.
Yeah.
And that's all coming up here. Let's see. That one will be, we will start the defense discussion on July 9th.
Yes.
Well, wait, Jesus criminy. We'll see. We'll figure it out. I look at my calendar. I don't. We'll figure it out. But we'll get the defense in. If we have to do all defense in one show, so be it. We'll just talk
Yeah.
defense.
That's fine. There's a lot to talk about.
Ben, thank you so much for joining us here and for bringing all this knowledge again. And we want to thank all of you who stay tuned and listened and watched this here. Without you, we have no reason to even be speaking. So until next time, until next week, 4 p.m., we'll be back next week. Ben, take us out with some positivity.
Yeah, eat 'em up, cats, and stay out of Iowa Park, eat some good pizza, just relax, take a vacation. It's summertime, people.
For the love of God, be nice to people and stay away from Iowa Park.